How did Tom Hanks go from animated cowboy to executioner in less than a year? Maybe he got some tips from Robert De Niro or Marlon Brando. These are the actors who had 2 or more acclaimed performances in the same 12 months. 2001 was a big year for Nicole Kidman. After being part of one of Hollywood's high-profile marriages in the 90s, Kidman finalized her divorce from Tom Cruise. Shortly thereafter, paparazzi famously caught her celebrating her newly found singledom. With her career intrinsically intertwined with Cruise, both on-screen and off, Kidman began transitioning her persona to be more individualized. In the summer of 2001, Kidman did just that, with the release of 2 great films that established her as a remarkable talent in her own right. First, she swung into the spotlight as courtesan Satine in director Baz Luhrmann's spectacular movie musical extravaganza, Moulin Rouge. Remixing pop music against a Technicolor backdrop of turn-of-the-century Paris, Moulin Rouge was praised by the Washington Post as a, quote, postmodern hug of a movie. The actress's performance was singled out by Variety, who said, Kidman's Satine evokes screen goddesses from Dietrich to Garbeau to Monroe, and the actress's own iconic status is exalted in the process. Shortly after this Oscar-nominated performance, Kidman starred in the eerie supernatural thriller The Others. She played Grace, a mother who lives with her 2 children in a stately manner that may or may not be haunted. Her restrained performance anchors this chilling ghost story, with the Rotten Tomatoes critics' consensus praising the film for its effective atmosphere and limited special effects. Believe it or not, there was a time when Tom Hanks wasn't ranked as America's most beloved movie actor. While he had Hollywood success, starring in a string of high-profile comedies in the 1980s, by the early 90s, his career was in transition. Hanks told the New York Times he was inspired by actor Tony Curtis to hunker down and get to work on becoming a movie star. Hanks says of this time in his career, I ended up saying no to an awful lot of things, and the things I said yes to were pretty damn good, and I had a nice run. Hanks' nice run kicked off in 1993 with 2 films that would squarely plant Hanks as one of Tinseltown's top talents. He had a bona fide box office hit with Nora Ephron's Sleepless in Seattle, playing widower Sam Baldwin. Later that year, Hanks starred in the drama Philadelphia, earning his first Oscar for playing an attorney who faced workplace discrimination due to his AIDS diagnosis. 1993 isn't the only year that Tom Hanks had multiple superb movies. He had another triumphant year in 1999, again with 2 very different films. Hanks reprised his role as Cowboy Woody in Toy Story 2, which holds a coveted 100% on Rotten Tomatoes' Tomato Meter, and he played death row prison officer Paul Edgecombe in the big-screen adaptation of Stephen King's The Green Mile. More recently, Hanks, now an established statesman of Hollywood, had 2 celebrated film releases in 2019, with Toy Story 4 and A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
That was wonderful!
George Clooney has certainly come a long way from the Caesar haircuts and batsuit nipples that defined his look in the 90s. Moving from television heartthrob to full-fledged movie star was a journey for Clooney, but he solidified his Hollywood heavyweight status in 2005 with the release of 2 hard-hitting dramas, Good Night and Good Luck, and Syriana. Depicting the conflict between famed broadcaster Edward R. Murrow and U.S. Senator Joseph McCarthy, Good Night and Good Luck was directed, produced, and co-written by Clooney. Oh, and he played CBS producer Fred Friendly, too. For his efforts, Clooney was nominated for Oscars for Best Original Screenplay and Best Director. While Clooney didn't win Oscar Gold for Good Night and Good Luck, he scored a Best Supporting Actor Oscar statue for playing veteran CIA operative Robert Barnes in Syriana, a film heralded by the Rotten Tomatoes critics' consensus as ambitious, complicated, intellectual, and demanding. In 2011, Clooney had another double-hitter year, starring in director Alexander Payne's family dramedy The Descendants and the political fable The Ides of March. For his performance in The Descendants, Clooney earned an Oscar nomination for playing troubled attorney Matt King.
Hey, I'm doing you a favor here, pal. I could go out there right now and I could you up, so get a better attitude.
Conversely, The Ides of March was another Clooney passion project, seeing him direct, co-write, produce, and co-star in the heralded feature. Timothée Chalamet's star was on the rise in 2017 when he starred in 2 celebrated coming-of-age independent films, Gaining prominence with featured roles in the TV series Royal Pains and Homeland, Chalamet had a burgeoning film career, with roles in Men, Women, and Children and Interstellar, before launching into stardom with 2017's Call Me By Your Name and Lady Bird. The poignant drama Call Me By Your Name has Chalamet starring as 17-year-old Elio Perlman, who falls for graduate student Oliver, played by Armie Hammer, over the course of the summer of 1983. Praised by The Washington Post, Call Me By Your Name received numerous award nominations and solidified Chalamet as a star, garnering him a Best Actor Oscar nomination. With a near-perfect Rotten Tomatoes tomato meter score, Greta Gerwig's teen dramedy Lady Bird gave Chalamet another excellent turn at adolescent insight. In Lady Bird, Chalamet plays cool kid Kyle, whose nonchalant charm proves hard for high school senior Lady Bird to resist.
Hey, I'm not paying you to flirt.
I wasn't flirting.
Wish you had been.
Recognized as one of the best films of 2017 by the New York Times and Rolling Stone, among others, Lady Bird was celebrated for its fresh take on the coming-of-age trope, with The Guardian praising the film as gloriously funny. After 2017, there was no mistaking the fact that Chalamet was one of Hollywood's leading young male heartthrobs. Scarlett Johansson was far past her indie darling days when she had a hat trick of great movies in 2019. That year, Johansson topped Forbes' list of the 10 highest-paid actresses, reportedly earning $56 million, mostly for her work as superhero Black Widow in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Working for her payday, Johansson played Natasha Romanoff, aka Black Widow, in the cinematic finale to Marvel's Infinity Saga, Avengers Endgame. Not only did Avengers Endgame smash the global box office, becoming the second highest-grossing movie of all time, but it was a critical hit, with the Rotten Tomatoes critical consensus calling Endgame exciting, entertaining, and emotionally impactful. While Johansson was co-starring in Hollywood blockbusters in 2019, she also got back to her independent film roots, acting in the World War II dramedy satire Jojo Rabbit and the heart-wrenching contemporary family drama Marriage Story. In Jojo Rabbit, Johansson plays Rosie Betzler, the titular character's mother, who is secretly a member of the German Nazi resistance. Marriage Story finds Johansson playing Nicole Barber, a woman who must balance her acting career ambitions and motherhood amidst her tempestuous divorce from playwright Charlie. Both films won critical praise, with Marriage Story landing on numerous Best Movies of 2019 lists. Johansson's performances in both films were honored with Oscar nominations. She earned a Best Supporting Actress nomination for Jojo Rabbit and a Best Actress nomination for Marriage Story. Jamie Foxx had already found fame in the 90s as a featured player on the sketch comedy series In Living Color, and as the star of his own sitcom, The Jamie Foxx Show. He also had a budding dramatic film career, with roles in movies like Toys, Any Given Sunday, and Ali. However, it was his roles in Collateral and the Ray Charles biopic Ray that launched him into the Hollywood stratosphere. In director Michael Mann's crime thriller Collateral, Foxx plays Max, an ambitious taxi driver who becomes an inadvertent accomplice to a hitman, Vincent. Critics praised Mann's stylish elevation of the thriller genre, with the New York Times observing that Collateral was quite unique as far as blockbusters go. Fox's take on music legend Ray Charles earned him near-universal praise. One glowing review from the Los Angeles Times reported, "Ray is blazing like a comet, buoyed by stellar reviews, box office success, and a tidal wave of Best Actor Oscar buzz for Jamie Foxx's incandescent portrayal of the singer."
All right, Tom, this is what I want you to do. We're going to lay my vocals down and finish the harmony parts.
As it turned out, the Oscar buzz wasn't just hype for Foxx. He was nominated for both his performance in Collateral for Best Supporting Actor, and he won Best Actor for Ray. Jessica Chastain found her way into the Hollywood spotlight in 2011 with a series of high-profile supporting roles in 4 great films. That year, Chastain co-starred with Michael Shannon in the Sundance Film Festival darling Take Shelter, a movie Vanity Fair celebrated as moving poetic film, praising Chastain's performance as supportive wife Samantha for its, quote, quiet power. Chastain continued her success in independent film with a role in director Terrence Malick's epoch-spanning The Tree of Life, playing the gracefully contemplative Mrs. O'Brien. A meditation on the nature of existence and God, The Tree of Life was celebrated as a cinematic triumph, earning the Palme d'Or at the 2011 Cannes Film Festival. In addition to 3 Oscar nominations, The Tree of Life has also been recognized as the best film of the 2010s by RogerEbert.com. In the film adaptation of Catherine Stockett's best-selling novel The Help, Chastain played bullied 1960s housewife Celia Foote as part of a celebrated ensemble cast that included Viola Davis and Octavia Spencer. A late summer sleeper hit, The Help had the longest streak at #1 at the box office since The Sixth Sense in 1999. Chastain's work in The Help earned her mainstream Hollywood accolades, including an Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actress. To close out her very successful 2011, Chastain flexed her acting chops in the Rotten Tomatoes certified fresh film, Coriolanus, actor and director Ralph Fiennes' modern take on the Shakespearean tragedy. Dame Emma Thompson was already a film and television star in the UK when she had a breakout movie year in 1993, acting in a trio of celebrated films. Coming from an acting family, Thompson was a formidable talent, a deft performer at both comedy and drama, appearing in a diverse array of projects. 1993 saw Thompson's movie career play to both her comedic sensibilities and dramatic talent, with roles in Much Ado About Nothing, In the Name of the Father, and The Remains of the Day. A frequent collaborator with her then-husband Kenneth Branagh, Thompson starred as Beatrice in Branagh's big-screen adaptation of Shakespeare's romantic comedy Much Ado About Nothing. Thompson followed up her performance as a sharp-witted Shakespearean heroine with a much more subdued role in Merchant Ivory's sumptuous 1930s period drama The Remains of the Day, playing housekeeper Miss Sally Kenton. Revered as beautiful to look at and deeply moving by The Hollywood Reporter, The Remains of the Day was celebrated with 8 Oscar nominations, including Best Actress for Thompson.
Why, Mr. Stevens? Why do you always have to hide what you feel?
Equally lauded by critics and similarly recognized for excellence by the Academy Awards, the Irish crime drama In the Name of the Father earned Thompson another Best Supporting Actress nomination. Thompson played real-life attorney Gareth Pierce, who helped exonerate the wrongly accused Guildford Four. Julianne Moore delivered 2 powerhouse performances in 2002, both of which were about women navigating repressive circumstances. Reteaming with director Todd Haynes, who guided Moore through her first starring role in 1995's Safe, Moore plays homage to the heroines of 1950s Douglas Sirk melodramas in Far From Heaven. She plays suburban housewife Kathy Whitaker, whose life of conformity is thrown into disarray when her husband Frank falls in love with another man, and Kathy develops feelings for her gardener. A weepy film that, according to Rotten Tomatoes critics' consensus, is sure to bring its audience to tears with its thoughtful evocations, Far From Heaven interpreted mid-century social restraints. Moore's contributions to the project were honored with a Best Actress Oscar nomination. Moore didn't go too distant from Far From Heaven for her portrayal of another oppressed housewife in The Hours. This time, Moore plays Laura Brown, who escapes her dissatisfying 1951 suburban Los Angeles life by reading the Virginia Woolf novel Mrs. Dalloway. Told from the perspective of 3 women, including Woolf herself, The Hours delicately weaves their lives together by examining their longings, regrets, and life choices. Called deeply moving by the New York Times, The Hours packs dramatic heft, and for their efforts, the film earned 9 Academy Award nominations, including one for Moore in the Best Supporting Actress category. Holly Hunter appeared in 2 very different yet excellent movies in 1993. Having already worked with notable directors like the Coen brothers, James L. Brooks, and Steven Spielberg, Hunter teamed up with 2 powerhouse filmmakers for The Piano and The Firm. Directed by Jane Campion, The Piano sees Hunter portraying Ada McGrath, a 19th century Scotswoman who is sold into marriage and moves to remote New Zealand with her new husband and her daughter. Choosing not to speak, Ada telegraphs emotions by playing the piano, and she eventually has a torrid love affair. Erotically charged and visually stunning, The Piano was celebrated as a triumph for both Campion and Hunter, with Hunter winning a Best Actress Oscar for her quietly powerful performance. Shifting from brooding 19th century sensuality to contemporary legal intrigue, Hunter shifted gears to play chain-smoking secretary Tammy Hempel in director Sidney Pollack's adaptation of John Grisham's blockbuster novel, The Firm. Tammy's sassy southern ways are a complete departure from Ada in The Piano. With her short skirts, curly dews, and a perpetually lit cigarette, Hunter's brief appearance in the firm made so much of an impact that she was nominated for a Best Supporting Actress Oscar. A box office hit, The Firm was the first in a series of Grisham novels to get the Hollywood big screen treatment throughout the 1990s. Acting legend Marlon Brando delivered two iconic performances in 1972. But before the release of The Godfather and Last Tango in Paris, he was considered a Hollywood has-been whose best days were long behind him. Luckily for Brando, he didn't refuse the offer to play aging patriarch Don Vito Corleone in The Godfather, a role that effectively resurrected his career. In fact, it was Brando's stunning transformation into the mob boss that has made The Godfather one of the most celebrated films in history.
You come into my house on the day my daughter's to be married and you ask me to do murder. Money.
Brando followed up The Godfather by starring in director Bernardo Bertolucci's erotic drama Last Tango in Paris. Brando plays Paul, a widower in mourning who starts a clandestine sexual relationship with Jacent. At the time of its release, Last Tango in Paris was declared a cinematic sensation, with film critic Pauline Kael heralding the film as a cinematic breakthrough and its premiere an essential moment in movie history. Earning an Oscar nomination for playing the emotionally distraught lead, Brando's career was back in full swing. Unfortunately, the film's legacy has been reassessed in recent years, with the revelation that Brando and Bertolucci filmed a sexually violent scene without Maria Schneider's consent. Robert De Niro has been a Hollywood stalwart for almost half a century, so it's no surprise that his career has multiple years with multiple great movies. On the precipice of fame, De Niro landed two great films in 1973, with breakout roles in director Martin Scorsese's crime drama Mean Streets and the baseball tearjerker Bang the Drum Slowly. Both films found critical acclaim. Mean Streets was the first of many collaborations between Scorsese and De Niro. First, in 1990, he played smooth-talking Jimmy Conway in the Scorsese gangster classic Goodfellas. The same year, he portrayed Leonard Lowe in Awakenings. De Niro secured an Oscar nomination for his performance in Awakenings, earning praise from Entertainment Weekly for his, quote, emotionally eloquent and daring acting. Then, in 1995, Scorsese and De Niro teamed up once again for the glitzy mafia epic Casino, the same year that De Niro collaborated with another noted auteur, Michael Mann, in the lauded crime thriller Heat. De Niro had yet another year with multiple great movie releases in 1997 with a trio of celebrated films. He co-starred as investigator Mo Tilden in the star-studded drama Copland, director James Mangold's meditation on police corruption. De Niro also played criminal Luis Gara in Quentin Tarantino's Jackie Brown, the witty adaptation of Elmore Leonard's crime caper novel Rum Punch. He rounded out 1997 by co-starring with Dustin Hoffman in the political satire Wag the Dog, as top-notch spin doctor Conrad Breen, who is tasked by the White House to deflect a sex scandal by creating a fictional war. Fresh off of playing rustic hunt Tristan in Legends of the Fall, Brad Pitt moved from heartthrob to heartache with turns in a pair of seriously dark films in 1995. In the psychological thriller Seven, Pitt plays Detective David Mills, who, along with his partner, Detective Lieutenant William Somerset, is in hot pursuit of serial killer John Doe. Gruesomely violent and unrelentingly grim, Roger Ebert, in his 4-star review, declared Seven one of the darkest and most merciless films ever made in the Hollywood mainstream. Keeping with the bleak tone of Seven, Pitt starred in director Terry Gilliam's dystopian sci-fi flick 12 Monkeys that same year. As the Rotten Tomatoes critics' consensus notes, the plot might be a bit of a jumble, but the performances and plot twists make 12 Monkeys certified fresh. Pitt's portrayal of conspiracy-minded psychiatric patient Jeffrey even scored him his first Oscar nomination. Pitt had another year with multiple great movies in 2011, acting in The Tree of Life and Moneyball. In The Tree of Life, Pitt keeps the film grounded as volatile patriarch Mr. O'Brien. In the fact-based baseball drama Moneyball, Pitt played Oakland Athletics general manager Billy Beane, who adopted sabermetrics methodologies to build a winning baseball team. Sports statistics might not seem like a riveting film subject, but Moneyball hit a home run with critics and earned 6 Academy Award nominations.